All right, Happy New Year. Excited to be back and sharing some new updates. We've been doing a bunch of work over the last few months and have a bunch of updates to share with you. So hopefully these things can get you moving quickly in the new year and finishing and helping you work on some new renderings and projects. So we're going to go over some updates first that were already released just a couple days ago. And so we'll go over these. I'll kind of go over them one by one. So some kind of read through these real quick. Coming up pretty soon here, we've been working for a while on a downloadable application. So right now there's just the streaming application, which allows you to log in over any browser. But we're releasing a application that you can install on your computer, which will have some benefits to it. And then some other settings here, which I'll go over individually. And then just before that, though, I wanted to just make note of some things that haven't been updated in the current live build, but will be coming pretty soon here as well. So I just mentioned the downloadable application. So that's looking like within the next week or so. We keep getting delayed by a couple of small things, but it's very close. So some more scenery objects, a bunch more from a couple of other vendors will be added very soon. Some light shutter options, which I'll show you here in a second. And then I have a note about another item as well, which I'll show you in a second. So I'll just start with these things real quick, and then I'll get on to the other thing. So one of these things here is when you have lights in your scene like this, I'll just kind of zoom in on this here. You might want to be able to shutter off these lights, meaning let me kind of point them at the wall actually over here, increase the intensity a bit. So what this allows you to do with this specific light type here, which is the ellipsoidal light, it allows you to turn on and off this shutter option, which then gives you sort of control over bringing down the top or bottom or left or right edge of the light fixture. So if you're familiar with how this works, you probably already understand this, but basically there's some sliders here and that will allow you to move up and down the top, the bottom, and then like, let's say if you wanted to kind of just move in this right individual light over here on the right side, you would bring this into the right. Same thing over here with the left. So it gives you a lot more control with those lights. So anyways, that's an upcoming update. Not available yet, but will be very soon. And then finally with just another note here that I don't have on the other list is that there, whenever you have a large group of objects like this, you often want to just, let's say, edit one of these individual lights, right? So instead of ungrouping all of the lights by using this button, what you can do is just unlock all of those lights together. And this was possible to do through this group lock button right here, but you had to go in here and then hit the group unlock button. And once you click that, it basically allows you to select any individual light and edit them as you need. But we added a couple more buttons just so that it's easier to access. So now you can right click and then hit unlock groups. And so that'll basically unlocks all things that are grouped at once. And then I could go back in here and lock the groups. And then that same button is also over here. So unlock groups and then lock groups. You might also notice real quick down here, there's a place button. This is somewhat new as well. There's always a place button here. We just made it a little more prevalent. So whenever you add objects through this build feature here, if you want to keep those objects, you want to hit the place button. Otherwise, if I were to click, let's say, this moving light button, it's going to replace those objects that I just placed there, and then it's going to put a different item on it. So the whole reason for this is that you can kind of scroll through different lights to see what you need. But let's say I make some adjustments here, and I want to keep these lights there, then I'm just going to hit the place button and keep them there. Cool. So that's that. All right, so we'll move on over to these new updates here. So first, really quick, we'll try to get through these quickly to show you a brief overview of them. So a new small UI setting is available now. So what that allows you to do is go up here to the settings menu. And then right here, it's going to say UI, and you just go from normal to small. And so now everything is a bit smaller. This just gives a bit more screen space and kind of compacts everything a little bit, but everything's still accessible. The text and everything will be a little bit smaller, but otherwise everything's the same. And then let's go back over to here. So custom PNG images that can be cropped and edited. So this is kind of a cool thing as well. Let me go back to normal so you can see it a bit easier. So this is kind of cool. What we have here now is an option. Let me just throw some rigging up here. So these don't look like they're just hanging from nowhere. You can also change the Just change this to black for the heck of it. We'll place that. So what I want to do to be able to create the PNG, like a cropped image basically, is I want to, let's say, come over here and let's say I want this image right here. So I'm going to upload a PNG image, right? And then what I want to be able to do is separate these two letters. So right now it's just one image, right? I'm going to hit the zoom key to be able to zoom in on it. And so why this is nice is that let's say you want to do some custom shapes with like LED panels or just something, or maybe they're just printed backdrops. So instead of going into something like Photoshop or some other photo editor, you can kind of do this right from here. So what you do is, let's say I want to separate these two letters into two different shapes. I'm going to stretch them like a little bit with this. So I'm going to click the scale button here and just stretch that. And then I'm going to go over to this section right here where it says move, stretch, and scale. And I'm going to move this to the edge here. I'm going to stretch it on the X axis. I think I need to move it back just a touch and over. Okay, and then from now, if I got that the way I want to, so the N is basically isolated. Now I can just make this whatever size I want. It's going to say the size up here, so I can say maybe I want this to be like 6 feet by 6 feet. So I'll do that. And I think it needs to be a little bit taller. Cool. Now I got my N, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'll just move it this way. And then I'll probably need to scale it a little or stretch it a little bit that way. And if I want the E to be the right scale, I'll need to adjust this again. So something like that. So basically now you have these two separate letters. This can be done with anything. So you could have a full logo and separate them into different pieces, all sorts of stuff like this. So now if I select both of these by holding Shift, I could make these kind of look like they're lit up. So like they could be LED if you wanted them to be. I could adjust the fall off as well. So they either have light hitting them or don't. And then I can just turn that light all the way down so that it just looks like it's a printed object. And then when you light it with some stage lighting or something, it will just aim these right there. I think I need to turn the light up a little too much. So you can see there how the light hits the letters now. I'll place that, add a stage in real quick. So this looks a little better. Place that stage. Throw some railings back there because why not? That doesn't look great. But anyway, so you see the options there. We throw some rigging in this section. Place that, turn that to black. Cool. All right, so we got that now. So that's just an example. If you ever have any questions on this specifically, just go ahead and use that chat button on our website, and we can tell you anything you kind of might want to know about different ways you can use it. And then, okay, new ability to change the name of any object in the objects list. So this is really nice too. So if you don't already know, you can go to the images button and then objects, and that'll list off all the objects that are currently in your project. You could also go to selection and then objects right here. We'll bring it up. But what you can do now is I can go to staging, and let's say I want to rename my stage because by default it just says stage riser 6x8. We'll call this stage, and you could just say the exact size of it. So this one's like 32 by 14 or so. Same thing, truss, maybe you rename it to truss. This one is 48 feet. I'm just looking up here to see the size. And so you could rename basically anything at this point now. So that will help a lot. You can also lock, hide things if you don't want to see them. So lots of options there. Name all your lights. Naming lights is often really helpful, as well as hiding them. So if I want to like test out some lighting in one version or one option, then I can create some lights and then hide them, name them some specific look. So lots of options with that as well. Okay, so went over that. Next we have editing camera names as well. So if you go up to the camera view here and then saved, this is where you're going to see all your cameras. If you have previously saved cameras, they might show up blank like this. So all I need to do is just delete these previous ones. I mean, or you could keep them, but they just won't have any names on them. So any new cameras that you create, though, will say camera 1, and then I might say front camera. And then I might come over here and say I need another camera here, and I'll call this left camera, and so on. So then now you can just switch back and forth and see those. All right, crown molding, baseboards, and chair rails. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So if you haven't used the new custom room feature, go ahead and try it out for anything that you might need. So for example, this room that I have right here was built with this custom room option. So it allows you to draw out walls to kind of fit a floor plan, or you can do it without a floor plan if you just have measurements. But there's quite a lot of options there. So once you've created the room, the walls basically, what it will do is you can adjust a lot of things. I think we have some other videos on editing the rooms. So you can adjust the ceiling, floors, walls, doors, windows, decor, room height, room light, and then the floor plan. But over here in the walls section, we've added a couple things. So alongside being able to change the sort of texture that's on any of the walls here, you can now also add molding, so detailed basically on the crown molding or the chair railing or baseboards and that sort of thing. So I just have 4 options here right now, but you can go ahead and change it to nothing. You can add a chair rail, you can add a baseboard, and you can add or remove crown molding. So definitely helps as a lot of venues have this sort of stuff, these details and whatnot. And then you can kind of get detailed with that stuff. I can use this color option here, which says change the color of the molding. So maybe I want it to be like a brown wood or something like that. I can adjust that. I'll just leave it as white for now, but same thing with the doors. So I could like select all these doors in the scene, change them to a brown or something, and then I can go over to my crown molding and make them all the same color. So, so lots of options with that. I will go ahead and change this back. Okay, so that is that. Again, let me know if you have any questions about that. Just through our chat is usually the easiest way to do that. And then color picker is now highlighted for specific objects. So it used to be the case that our color picker option over here would just kind of work for any object that it worked with. But now you'll see that whenever you select certain objects, the color picker is a bit larger and much more highlighted. So for example, for these objects, I can't really change the color of these objects because they're just textures. So this isn't going to highlight. But if I select these lights up here, then this is highlighted. So now it shows that I can change the color of these lights. And same with this. So these truss now, you can change the color of this. So I can make this like more of like a silver metal look, or black. And that is pretty much how that works. So you can now have a little bit better understanding of which objects can change color. And then lastly, just some general bug improvements, and then some additional information that you can add to when you create a rendering. So your order number and project estimate. These are just for tracking if you want to keep track of order numbers and estimate values of different projects that you're working on. So you can play with that if you want. And that is it for today and all of the updates. Again, we'll be in contact when we have some updates with the new version or downloadable version that we're adding, as well as any other updates we'll add. And you can always go to the dashboard page. We'll have the latest updates, which you can see there. All right, thanks for watching.